Okay, we've set up our S3 bucket as a website, but now we want to put it behind a CloudFront distribution for a number of reasons. And one of them is we need to have it register as HTTPS. We need a secure certificate, which we can get for free with our AWS subscription. They don't charge for certificates that you're using with CloudFront, but there are a couple kind of hidden things you have to know that are really confusing if you don't know. Go to the AWS Certificate Manager, just navigate to that. And then you notice here we are in North Virginia, US East 1. Your certificate has to be issued in US East 1 for a CloudFront distribution. They don't tell you that very clearly, but if it's not in US East, you won't see it in your configuration later. So once you're in that, you can just move to your next step of requesting a certificate. We're going to request a public certificate. It's just the default choice. You don't really have to think about this one at all. Request a public SSL/TLS and then hit next. And then enter your fully qualified domain name, the www that we set up on the S3 bucket.yourdomain.extension, TLD. One other thing is, if you notice, the default is DNS validation. Make sure you choose that. That's what I'm going to show you how to do here in a second. DNS validation means that it's able to continuously check against your name servers, and it's really the most persistent, best way to do this. And it also means it's tied to the domain name, not somebody's personal email address. So definitely the best practice there. So then when we go to the certificate manager, once we hit that button, you'll notice it says pending in the status. And down here, we have our domain that we've registered. But it's going to be pending until we set up the CNAME in your DNS. Now, one of the other Easter eggs here is that the screen is not wide enough for most computers, so you have to slide over and take a look at where it has CNAME and the CNAME value. These are the two things we're going to copy and paste over into our domain name service, our DNS configuration. For the CNAME, for the most part in configuration of name servers, you're just going to go up to the www without the dot. And then with the CNAME value, you're going to take everything, including the dot. Again, one of these kind of things, you got to know these things when you do it. So we move to the next step, which is we go to, like, I'm using GoDaddy. And I know, GoDaddy is passe. People don't use it anymore. I don't care what name service you're using, where you're registering your domains and who's doing your DNS. The mechanisms are the same. You're going to set a new record. You're going to create a new CNAME. You're going to take that first bit, that, see where I have the underscore 2365B, blah, 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 all the way to the WW, because we're creating a host name, a CNAME for underscore 2365B, blah, 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 blah. That points to underscore F4B, blah, blah, blah. And keep in mind, these are different for everyone. These are special keys to make it impossible to spoof. Impossible, of course, is a relative term. Once you have your DNS set up with this new CNAME record, if you want to get old school on it and go and do a quick dig on that full length, you should see that in your answer section, that it's pointing there, and then what that in turn is pointing to at Amazon. I do want to point out that acmvalidations.aws. AWS is Amazon's own TLD, and that is a topic for another day to talk about how you get so big you have your own top-level domain. But once this is done, you just need to wait for the status to go to issued. That can take 15 up to 30 minutes. It never seems to happen any less than about 5 minutes for me, but it all depends on load, how recently they've looked, and things like that. But go ahead and set your time to live on your DNS to about 30 minutes and assume it's going to take 30 minutes, even if you set it to 5 seconds. Which then means our next step will be to start configuring that CloudFront distribution now that we have a secure certificate. I'll see you in that video.